Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the best version of you. Today's episode is called Never Giving Up, and I'm really excited to have with me today an amazing guest, a guy I've known for a very long time, a guy that many of you will probably have known and seen from his programmes that he's been on TV, Invictus Games and the Paralympics, but we'll go more into that when we speak to him. So, absolute pleasure to have you on the show, Mr. Micky Yule.
Cheers, mate. Long time no see. Really happy to be here and looking forward to it.
Great. So, a bit of an introduction about Micky. Micky joined the Royal Engineers several years ago and was a staff sergeant amongst a group of guys who were in a search team where they would search sort of explosive devices and that in Afghanistan. And he was unfortunately injured. From there he's gone on to do a massive array of things rather than let himself get down, and he hasn't given up, which is what we wanted to discuss today. So Micky, if you wouldn't mind, would you please just sort of tell the listeners a little bit about how you unfortunately got injured back in Afghanistan several years ago?
Yeah, well, as you briefly mentioned there, I was senior rank on the patrol, staff sergeant, and our job was to find high threat IEDs. So the normal infantry patrols out there would have trained personnel to find IEDs. However, when intelligence came in, or if unfortunately one of the patrols got hit, we would be called out as a high risk search team. It came with obvious dangers and threats, because the longer you're around IEDs and time spent with them, more chance of it going wrong. There is very small percentage of teams that went out doing the job I was doing that came back who were not involved in some sort of incident, be that losing multiple lives, amputations, near misses, just bad stuff going on all the time. And on the 1st of July 2010, the normal day, coming towards the end of the task, and then I stood on a pressure plate IED with my left leg. Bang, instantaneously lost this leg, gone. We used to call it red mist. You look for it, guess what, it's not there. So just know that. It's not a cartoon, you don't look for your leg and crawl over and grab it, it's gone. And then my right leg and my hand actually were in a really bad way. I had a really good team with me, patched me up, called in the Chinook, medical emergency response team, zoomed in. Those guys would come in and save lives no matter what. I mean, you've probably seen it yourself. You could be in absolute hellhole and they would still come in and save you.
Yeah, unbelievable people.
Yeah, as long as you weren't dead and you got on that helicopter, I always thought that they would save you, because I've seen guys go on there who I thought by the time I got back to the patrol base I would be informed that they were dead. And 2 or 3 days later you found out that they were back in the UK alive.
Brilliant.
So back in there, straight back to Bastion, patched up, and then I was in Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham within 24 hours. And that was the start of a long journey of rehab, operations and recovery that still going on to this day.
But that brings us straight on to the next question. Like, obviously it was a massive long process from there, because it wasn't just a simple sort of injury that occurred. How did you feel like in the early stages of your recovery?
Yeah, no, as you can imagine, you feel terrible. You go unconscious in Afghanistan, and then you wake up with no legs in Birmingham. That's how you wake up, and you try and patch up everything that happened in between. But unfortunately at that point we were losing a limb every 2 days, British forces. So Birmingham was packed, Headley Court was packed. Amputations, be it triple, double or single, were just coming in every 2 days on flights. And I looked around the hospital in Birmingham, looking at what you would see on war movies. Triple amputees, guys with one eye, guys with losing arms, Do you know what I mean? Guys who look like they've been cut in half.
Oh, yeah.
Really. Some serious stuff. So you're trying to deal with that, and also you're trying to deal with, I've got no legs left. My hand's hanging off. I'm never going to be employable in a combat role again. So
Yeah.
I'm probably going to lose my job. All my mates are in the army, because I joined when I was 16. What's happening now? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have some dark, dark nights, man. That hospital, in that 8 weeks of initially being injured before I started moving on to Headley Court, you can imagine that the thoughts and the people call it PTSD, you can call it whatever, but the flashbacks and being scared to go to sleep because you knew when you slept that you couldn't control not having those thoughts, and then immediately you're back in Afghanistan, you're going down the road, you're trying not to go where you got blown up, and you can't stop yourself. It's a reoccurring dream, like a dream that you might have when a kid. You know, you might have the same nightmare for about every year or so when you're a kid, and it might be falling out of a plane or falling off a cliff.
Yeah.
Just this dream that I'm going down this track in Afghan and I don't want to go there. I can't stop myself. And I'm like, stop. My head's saying, stop, don't go down there, you get blown up. And it's similar to one of the old kettles boiling when it whistles.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a gentle whistle, and I'm still walking down, and it's whistling loud, and I'm like, don't go, don't go. And then I always wake up just before I stand in it. And it's just those dreams, and at that point, initially after the blast, were just terrible. I know, I think every one of us who had that combat injury, so the getting shot or blown up, and looking down into the sandpit of Afghanistan and seeing yourself bleeding out, it's like you see your soul leaving you, going into the sand. You know, I don't think it'll ever go away from you, but at the start of the rehab and that, it was just a nightmare. It was a really scary time, I think, not only for myself but for everybody.
Yeah, and we spoke about this before, and I've seen you talk about it a lot on other programs and other interviews and talks that you've done in the past. And since then, those dark days, you've gone on to do some pretty remarkable things. Just give us a bit of a brief description about what you've achieved. I mean, obviously from your powerlifting side of things to winter sports.
Winter sport. Yeah, but it all goes back from you end up at Headley Court, and the biggest mission or biggest job that I've ever faced in my life is I had to get walking again.
Yeah.
I was 31 years old and I had been blown up, and I was a double amputee, above the knee, mid thigh, and my hand was hanging off. And how are you going to get walking again? Because I've seen guys who were spinal injuries and they had no choice but to stay in that chair. All they wanted to do was to get a chance to walk. Now, as the amputees there, how could I then look at that guy and go, it's a bit sore today, I'm not going to try and walk?
Yeah.
It's all he wants to do. He wants to feel that pain because he wants to walk. So there was a motivation there from just being around the lads to walk. Every amputee was going to walk, and we're going to work hard, and mentally we were going to get through it. And then from that I started walking on my prosthetics, and I was still mentally in a bad way. You know what I mean? It's taken so long to get over. And the operations were coming round every 3 months, a couple of operations, every 3 months, a couple of operations. So I started training again, because I used to train before. You know what I mean? I used to love going to the gym, and I was always a pretty strong guy. And I wanted to get back to where I was before. And actually maybe not get back to the same. I mean, why can we not get better? Because I tell you, when you get a second chance in life, you look back and you go, man, I could have done a wee bit better there. Do you know what I mean? You do. You never have a bigger look at yourself in the mirror when you just about die. And you go, if I get through this, I'm going to do things better. So I decided to use sport, and specifically powerlifting, is just a change of scenery. I didn't want to be in hospital, I wanted to be in the gym, and I started slowly training, and I had a great support structure. The coach that I'm still working with now was the first coach that took me out of that wheelchair. Just like,
that's remarkable.
Yeah, but you stick with him.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to come in now that I'm going to Rio and Paralympics and join the band now. Be there at the start.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there was nothing at the start. That guy was only doing it because he wanted to help me.
Yeah.
There was no benefit to his career and go, oh, Micky was coach. There was nothing. He decided that he was going to initially get me stronger, and we had this wild dream of trying to go to the Glasgow Commonwealth Games. That's crazy. I watched the London Paralympics from inside my, I had an operation in Salisbury District Hospital, and I watched the closing ceremony there, and I was like, wow, I want to be there. How can I get there? I need to get a team around me. But I knew I'd already got the coach in place, and I just needed to make sure that I built a strong team around me. Nothing negative. No one that's going to bring the team down, because we were already starting pretty low. Do you know what I mean? And because I had a really bad break on my pelvis, and it was going to affect how I was going to lift weight throughout it. And I had a lot of surgeons and that tell me that they didn't want me putting a large weight through my skeleton, just in case it popped again.
Would you say at that point that that when you saw a goal, someone to aim for with the team, would you say at that point there was possibly a number of elements of negativity around you, that people maybe saying, "What, you're crazy? That's never going to happen," close to you, or sort of associates? Yeah,
maybe on the quiet. No one really close to me, because the truth is I wouldn't have had them close to me, because I had went through so much. That if you're a negative person when I'm trying to walk again, you know what I mean? You can't have it. So these were crazy goals, and do you know what I mean? My hand had been rebuilt because it was hanging off from Afghanistan, and now it can lift a big old weight. But you know what? There's nothing better in life than proving people wrong, and I knew between me and my group we could do it. And this can be related to any workplace or any goal or any mission. Very rarely can you do everything on your own. There is times where you have to be that lone wolf training, and there's no backstaffers and there's no cheerleaders, and you need to want it. No one can want it more than you.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know what I mean? But you still need a strong team around you.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't a strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to get the best out of me as in strength and physically, so I needed that. Certainly wasn't a physio. I needed a physio, and we built and we got a great team around us. And then all these crazy goals about walking again and trying to qualify for the Commonwealth Games, we just started ticking them off. And do you know what? The euphoria of little goals. So we couldn't go, we need to go to the Commonwealth Games, it was too far.
Yeah.
But we could break that down.
100%.
We could break that down, and we could go, do you know what we've done today? We lifted 120k. How are you feeling? Yeah, I feel alright. Can you imagine that? We started on 80. Do you know what I mean? Brilliant. How's your walking? It's going great. Got a bit of good feeling, you know what I mean? You keep the momentum rolling. Then what we'd notice though, we'd have a downside. I'd go and see a surgeon, and he'd go, "Micky, we need you back in." But what we would do is we'd go, "Right, we'll get you back in. We'll take 2 weeks off, and then we'll go again. And we'll go harder than before. Because you're having a surgery to make you better. That means all these other little things that are niggling you, that might be 1 or 2 of them off. So it means we can go again." And then we just work and work and work. People started noticing that I was progressing really well, and I qualified for the Glasgow Commonwealth Games. And then just since then, since the Glasgow Commonwealth Games, where no one really cared about me, and no one, say 18 months before that, thought I could do anything, the minute I competed there and the build up to that, the support and start being selected for GB teams and thinking about Paralympics, meeting Prince Harry and being involved in the first Invictus games, where we were all at head of the court and no one really cared about us. We were a bit mental. Everybody thought we had PTSD, which we did have, but you get blown up in Afghanistan and tell me you've not got PTSD, you're lying.
Yeah.
And then we're all got metal legs attached to us, and no one, we had every B-list celebrity come and help us, as in pop down and get a picture taken with us. But we needed someone out there to go, do you know what, these guys are alright. And actually, the reason we should support them and the reason you should employ them is what they've been through. It shouldn't be a negative.
Yeah.
If they've been blown up and they can get back to walking and competing, and if it's not sport, it's starting businesses, If it's not starting a business, it's doing motivational speaking. If they can get back from that, that should be the reason you should employ them.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a negative. And he put his neck on the line and he goes, you know what? These lads and lassies, we're going to get them out here and we're going to show you how good they are. And actually, from that initial London Invictus game, it's only grew and grew and grew.
Yeah.
I done the first two, and it's grown and grown now. Because Invictus games, you can't do 3, 4, 5, I don't think. Because you've got to get the next guys in.
Yeah.
Because the benefit I got from the first Invictus games and then going to Orlando was massive.
Yeah.
Massive sense of achievement, and for your family and friends, and to push you on for better things. You keep on doing it again and again and again. You're denying the guy who sat in his house in the dark and hasn't left and needs that support. That's the guy who needs to come in next. Go and compete, do well, get everything that the benefits around it, let the next guys come in, and if you can help them get there, that's even better.
Yeah.
And I think that's how it works. So.
Well, it's been a pretty remarkable platform for you, isn't it? Invictus Games.
Yeah, it is, and do you know what, you need it.
Would you say that's like been one of the biggest motivations for you since like when you realised in Headley Court or Birmingham that you've got the opportunity to be able to walk again with prosthetics compared to the guys who are in the wheelchairs, for example? From then until sort of like the Invictus Games time, would you say the fact that the amount of no, you can't do that type of attitude, would you say it was one of the biggest motivations to actually get you there? Not to prove to yourself that you could do it, because obviously going to get into the Commonwealth Games in your hometown must have been, when you were there, must have been a pretty amazing feeling.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. You see these guys off TV, and then they're then your teammates. You're going to the canteen with them. And there was a funny story where I was in Glasgow and the Invictus Games hadn't been announced yet, hadn't been promoted, and the athletes' village, they used to have a VIP come every day, and we knew the royal family was coming that day, and I just sat in the room and the media girls come down from Team Scotland and they went, you need to get up there, Prince Harry wants to meet you. And I was like, why? Me? Why me? Anyway, I got up there, and very strict on what you've got to wear. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be in Team Scotland kit. And I think maybe only he could get away with it. He says, take that Scotland top off, Mickey. I want you to put an Invictus Games t-shirt on. We're going to get a load of pictures, and then we're going to go over and meet my brother and his missus. Which is William and Kate. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, what?
I remember seeing the photo.
I'm like, come on, man. Jesus, what? I don't, because walking on prosthetics, sometimes you stick out of it anyway. You start walking out in front of loads of people, and I'm like, man, come on. And we went over there, and he was telling me all about this Invictus Games, and I was like, right, when's it kicking off? And he was like, September. I think the Commonwealth Games were early August. I was like, wow, it's going to be a quick turnaround. How the hell are you doing that? But he'd done it. But the Invictus Games is massive. But I done my rehab with 5 guys who I ended up being in Rio with, and we all done a rehab and got blown up same time at Headley Court.
Oh wow,
that was unbelievable. And we done an interview over there with JJ Chalmers, who was working with.
This is a 2014.
The 2016 Rio
Olympic.
In Rio. So we just looked at each other and went, man, do you know how far we've come? This is unbelievable here. But no one sort of looked at each other and went, that's it. It's just, it's sort of like, it's done, what's next?
What's next?
Because one thing that we always do as soldiers or in the military, we sort of play ourselves down on what we can achieve and just how good we are as people. So quickly as you start breaking into GB Paralympic sports, whatever one it is, we all started doing well quite quickly. I think because we were driven, we were motivated, we already got that discipline behind us. We certainly didn't have to be told that we had a second chance and this was going to, when opportunities come along, you've got to grab them by the balls because they'll turn up when you least expect them and you won't be ready for it. But accept it and then deal with it. Do you know what I mean? Take the challenge on and then work out how you're going to do it, because if you refuse it because you don't think you're ready for it, you've never gave yourself a chance.
Say yes and worry about it
say
later.
yes and go, right, how the hell am I going to do this? And I'll tell you what you do is you'll go, right, I need to get my team together. And it always just goes back to that. You go, I just need to get a strong team and we'll work it out and we'll do it. So, and the same guys might go to Tokyo or the same guys, if you look at separately, it's not always about sport. Some of the guys I was at Headley Court have got great businesses running. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just totally diverted. They put in as much effort as I do into doing all my sport and training into their business, and they're doing some great things. Other people have set up their own charities. Everybody's just, I seem that they're really taking a second chance they've got and running with it, and it's great to see.
Yeah, and I follow a number of guys on various social media platforms, LinkedIn. I was having a chat on Instagram with Mark Ormrod.
Yeah.
Really great guy. Hoping to get him on the show soon, actually. Just to think, and he did one of the Invictus games as well recently, isn't he?
Yeah. So Mark come in on towards the sort of later Invictus games now, but multiple Invictus games going with us.
Yeah.
First UK triple amputee.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
his story is quite remarkable, isn't it?
So, and that's just another example of what's going on, and we are achieving some great stuff.
So, over the period of when you really got your teeth stuck into the recovery side of things to, say, the Commonwealth Games, what would you say would have been your key failures? And I don't mean that bad negatively, but key failures along the way that you really learned something from, and then applied it to sort of improve to get to that next level.
Yeah. Well, to tell you the truth, I've failed more than I've achieved in sport.
Yeah.
If you want to come fourth at a major competition, speak to me. Come fourth at 2 Commonwealth Games, fourth at European Championships, you know what I mean? It kills you. But those small failures in between there, that can just be with how you're walking, how you're approaching every day, trying to make sure that you're still staying on it and really ready to kick your own arse to get stuff done. Sometimes people can lie to themselves, and others around them will go with that lie because you tell it so well, but you still got to brush your teeth in the morning at night.
Yeah. And
you still got to look at yourself and go, come on. Do you know what I mean? And I noticed that when we were building up to the Commonwealth Games, that if I was going to get there, I couldn't have any more. There's enough people that try to feel sorry for you, and I see this, and it's certainly not a slight on anybody, but some guys who could get blown up 10 years ago will describe themselves as, I was the guy that got blown up 10 years ago. Well, what are you doing now?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you doing now? That was one moment in your life. And actually, people talk about traumatic stress from an incident, but that incident can also open the door to a million opportunities.
Yeah.
It's a bad time at that moment, but I'm not going to the Paralympics without getting blown up. I'm not going to the Commonwealth Games without getting blown up. Did I want that to happen? No. But it certainly opened doors for me.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about Micky Yule, who's planning on going to Tokyo as his second Paralympics. Let's talk about Invictus Games stuff. Let's talk about just being a better person, as in a better father to your kids or whatever, because your mindset's changed. You're just a better person within the community because you're not that idiot sort of tunnel vision squaddy. Don't be Micky Yule got blown up 10 years ago. That's done, man. Move on for it. Stop going back and introducing yourself as, oh, do you not know me? I got blown up. Come on, man. Let's see it. You're better than that. You know what I mean? And it's easy during that period before the Commonwealth Games to fall into it because I had a lot of press.
Yeah.
First thing they'll ask is, tell us what happened on that day.
Yeah.
Oh man, I feel really so sorry for you, and you're like, I don't want to be the so sorry guy.
Yeah.
I just want to be the guy who sits beside Chris Hoy in the canteen, and he asks me how I'm going to win, and I'll ask him how his training's going, and he asks me if I'm got any injuries. Don't want to be asked, oh, you alright, you got blown up. I feel that, and on the Baltic Commonwealth Games, when I finally got over that, right, that's done, man. Stop talking about this. What are you going to do now? It actually could be a platform to do amazing stuff.
Yeah,
and it's a platform sometimes. You're going to change your life, but you're going to change other people's life around you because no matter what you do, And it's a bit cheesy, but you can inspire people who are going through a bad time, because everybody's going through a bad time. People talk about, I don't think I've had to deal with any mental health issues in my whole life. Well, stop lying, man.
Yeah.
You've never been anxious. You've never had a real anxiety sort of problem. You've never been depressed. You've never had to deal with financial or any big worries in your life. Come on. The people you shouldn't trust are the people who say they've never had any mental issues.
Yeah.
If you go, do you know what, I had to deal with a lot of stuff once, and I got over it, and I can help you from what I learned. They're the guys you should trust.
Yeah.
Don't ever see mental health as, oh man, you need to be wary of them. They're the guys I would go to first for help. The guy who's shouting the loudest about my mental health is brilliant and I'm too strong for it, just leave them, man.
Yeah.
Because they're idiots.
Yeah. They're
either idiots or they've been born with a silver spoon in their mouth and never had to deal with anything.
Yeah, no, 100%, I totally agree. And well, I've certainly met a lot of them, and I'm sure you have. But like from what you're saying, then sometimes it really does take a traumatic event, regardless of what that might be, to really show you at the end of it, like who you are and who you can become, because you didn't really know to start with. It was just like everyday normal jogging. But sometimes it takes that bang, that sudden, horrible traumatic event, whether it be losing somebody or an accident or a near-death experience, that really then hones into like you then start realising who you actually are and what you actually can become. All those inner strengths that you can then apply to yourself, like you've done, like day in day out, getting up every single day, going like I just want to better myself. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, like so many people can take so many messages just away from what you've done from that horrible day in Afghanistan to now, and it's pretty remarkable. So out of that, what would you say has been your like biggest like internal challenges as well as like your external ones? Yeah,
I think the internal challenges are the hard ones, and they're the ones that no one see. Yeah, they're the ones that when you're looking up trying to sleep at night, your eyes are open and it's 2 in the morning, and that's you dealing with that. I really struggled, and you knew me before it. I used to think I was the hardest man in the whole British Army. Right?
Just for the record, guys, this guy used to play a centre midfield in football with him, and I'm not joking. People would go in to tackle him, and they would just bounce off him.
Reckless tackle.
I would never have to say, "Oh, man on Mickey," because the guy would just bounce off him. Like he was a hard man.
But you think you're tough in that, and then you realise that there's no toughness. The toughness comes from looking at the children who are dealing with cancer.
Yeah.
Not tough because you think you're hard on a football pitch, or you think that you're never going to be beaten at anything, and you want to be the first and the strongest and the quickest at everything. So when I got injured, I was nothing. I was in an electric wheelchair. My right hand may never work again. My missus was wiping my bum. My mum was feeding me. Some dark times there, and you feel when you talk about getting over PTSD is a big word, right? And you can put it in. I think it gets thrown around too much, actually. Yeah. It definitely can be broken down more. But when you're dealing with, let's just call it bad stuff in your life, I had lost where I sat in the family, because I was the chief clansman of Clan Yule. Do you know what I mean? I was going to sort out everything. Trouble come to the family, like financial, just protection, anything I was going to sort out. And do you know what? Then you can't sort out nothing. You are pretty reliant on everybody, and it's something I still try and deal with now. So it's how do you feel like you can rebalance the scales, and so that drive to do sport and to get strong and to achieve, I feel right, because it's like how does your son look at you? This is in my weird little mind. Am I still the dad I was before? And initially, absolutely, I didn't think I was. Thought I couldn't be. And that was going back to maybe bad attitudes that, not a bad attitude you get in the army, but let's face it, you have to be physically fit, show no like chinks in your armour, everybody's got to be on it, we're in the army. But some of the strongest, most courageous, selfless people I've ever met are disabled. Yeah. And my social group, I didn't know one disabled person. And that's not because I chose not to, it's just because they weren't in it. And then I end up being disabled, and then I'm going to sports events where there's guys there, and maybe I get to friends with them and I hear their stories, and I'm like, wow, that's so serious. If you've had a hard life, you're a lot braver and tougher than me. And they could be any age. And I hear when people with different disabilities, when they have to go through school. School's hard enough for all of us. Yeah. Imagine going through school disabled, and the amount of crap they have to deal with. And then you look and you go, I got blown up at 31. I joined it, I had 15 years serving in the army before I got injured, seen a lot of stuff. Let's just get on with it. Stop thinking, oh, you're not the same guy. Well, I'm not the same guy just because I had to go in a wheelchair for 3 months. You know, that's a chink in my armour. Yeah. That's where I need to look in the mirror and say, come on, let's get back to where you were. Don't get back to where you were, let's be better than him. And you can be better than him by how you conduct yourself, your attitude around people. If it's going to be sports-wise, what was I lifting before? Let's get better than that. Let's not use the excuse because you're in a wheelchair you can't do it, because we'll see what they can do in the Paralympics. Do you know what I mean? It was the first time I think they'd ever been acknowledged as athletes, and I just had to try and internally go, not that I was viewing being disabled as a bad thing, as in I was, oh, I don't want to be disabled. I just thought, am I still the same dad I was before? Because it is a bit harder to take them in the park. Yeah. It is a bit harder to kick a ball and do all that. But you know what? You just realign it. You do something else better. You adapt and you're I'll tell you one thing I've noticed. Kids don't care. Yeah. Kids are so accepting. It's unbelievable. But it did play in my mind for ages. Yeah. Am I still the same dad or I was before and could have been in it, and it was a big struggle. Externally, when we talk about how much sometimes a pain in the arse being disabled is, you'll never notice until you're disabled. Yeah. I go to try and go into a shop and I'm like, how can I get in here? There's probably 3 steps to get in. There's no handrail. If I was in a wheelchair, there's no slope. Go in and say, well, where's the toilet? So there's 2 flights upstairs. You're like, God, man. Right, oh, I know what we'll do. We'll go to the zoo. Get to the zoo, you go, oh man, I can't get down that hill. Yeah. I can't get down these steps. Is there any disabled access? And people who are disabled for life have dealt with this the whole time trying to get on a train. Yeah. You got off the train in an old station and you can't even get over the platform to the other one. It just drives you mad. You end up pre-planning your whole life. But getting better on your prosthetics can lessen that, and you can say, do you know what, I can deal with a lot more. But certainly I notice more for the guys who might be permanently in a wheelchair, just how hard just getting from A to B is. And it can drive you mad, because you could have a bad day. Everybody's a bad day. Yeah. When you get in a wheelchair and you say, I want to take my kids to the park, you get out of the car and you can't go. It's soaking gravel and you can't push right in your wheelchair. And your kids are so excited to go to the park and you can't get there because there's no disabled access. That's the kind of thing that you flip, you lose your mind. Luckily I'm on the prosthetics now and I can move around better, but externally just accepting you're disabled and then going, Jesus, these disabled people have to deal with quite a lot now. You know? People staring at you. Yeah. No one has stared at me in my life. I mean, I can't. If I went out there and walked to the shop with you, people want to stare. It's just how you accept it. But I would stare. This is how I look at it. There's a guy walking on metal pins. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's walking on metal legs. If you don't have a look, you're probably a bit weird anyway. Because you can't accept. Yeah. You can't just look at you and go, oh yeah, that guy's walking on a set of metal legs.
But you also, you kind of like, for me, I instantly appreciate probably what they're going through, but you have to look to appreciate each other. And it's, you kind of probably ask yourself like, oh, how's he doing that?
Yeah, that is it. Some things about it, I've got a thing where, look once, look twice, don't look 3 times. Yeah. If you look 3 times, they're going to look right back at you. Yeah. And you don't want that look. And with kids, I've seen kids walking to lampposts looking at me because they want to come over and they want to check their legs out, which is fine, because the more they look at them and feel them and work at how they work, the next guy they see, they'll just be a bit more accepting. Yeah. But that's when we go, when kids are more accepting than adults. Because as an adult, you ain't look at me and go, oh, he must have hurt himself, he might have been in the military. I'll wait till he walks past and I'll have another look because they're crazy. Don't have another look, because I'm just trying to get on with my life, mate.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not in a zoo and you're paid £5 to just come and stare at me the whole time. But so that was quite hard, but sometimes it's funny and sometimes you just need to look straight back at them and then they'll move on.
Well, I mean, obviously that's several years of experiences now since that day when you were 31. But like, do you ever sit down like nowadays and think, oh, what would I tell 16-year-old Micky if I had the chance? Would 16-year-old Micky still join the forces?
Absolutely. I say this on some of the talks I do. And this is a reason, this is a good and a bad thing. This is a good thing because I didn't want to leave the military. I was going to be a 22-year soldier.
Yeah.
I loved the banter, I loved working hard and playing hard, I loved going on operations, I loved everything. And then I got blown up. And actually, when I talk about it, the bad side of it is if you gave me everything I've done, all the Paralympics, everything I've achieved, and said, you can go back 2 seconds before you stand on that, would you stand on it? I would say no. I would say no, because maybe I'm still not accepting of where I am. But my life was pretty good, you know what I mean? I loved where I was. I see the lads now who have done the 22 years and they're either getting commissioned or warrant officers, RSMs and that, and I'm like, that's my team.
That would have been you.
That would have been me there. And I see us, even though I've been to some crazy and brilliant big things, still would have liked to have done my full term.
Yeah.
And that is because it might be good or bad, I don't know. Because I've done some other crazy stuff I'd never get a chance to do, but just give me one more 6 months with the lads and then maybe I'll go, you can make me disabled again and back on my legs, but I'll tell you one thing, you never get back what you had in the army.
No, you don't.
You don't. And a lot of lads struggle with that when they leave, and I still miss being with the lads.
It's the one thing that every guy misses. It's like, even though I'm out, I speak to my wife often about it. She says, "Oh, do you miss stuff?" And I'm like, well, no. But then it's because I instantly think of like some of the things that I did quite like. But the one thing that I always loved was like the Afghan days, the being on the ground with you guys, the camaraderie, the guy left and right, front and back. Like you're like a solid bond. And especially in places like Germany, when it was like you're one big family, and the cultures and the places you live in, the places you go, bench trainings, all that kind of stuff. You don't get that anywhere else in the world, in any job really.
No, you don't.
So I totally get why any sort of soldier who's out now would miss it. Yeah.
Well, my son's 12, and if he gets to 16 and 17 and says I want to join the army, I fully support him.
Yeah.
Because absolutely, it'll give you the best start in life, and you'll learn stuff that you're not going to learn anywhere else. And if you then can use that to either go into City Street and achieve some incredible things, or you do whatever you want to do, I think it's a great foundation to push on. So, yeah.
It is, especially I think in the British Army, we're not an aggressor. Yeah. We're very much like a peacekeeping, do the right thing, diplomatic type of force. So majority of the operations are very much like, it's not taking the fight to the enemy. It's not really that kind of way anymore. So. A lot of people are looking to join now, who are joining now. There is so much stuff you can get out of being in the forces, the education, the experiences. I myself, I wouldn't be the person I probably am today if I hadn't been in the military for 15 years. All the sort of skills that you learn, especially in like an engineer role, for example. Yeah. Or even from a soldiering point of view, there's people tend to forget like how much stuff a 17, 18-year-old has to know. In the forces, like especially in certain corps where you'd have a trade, you've got to be a soldier, you've got to do all this stuff like compared to somebody who goes on to do maybe a sparking apprenticeship or a chippy or something like that. Like being in the army, you literally have to take on and pursue so much information.
You grow up fast. You get a real feeling of dealing with a lot of different personalities, and you learn, and you've got to learn fast. But it's there, man, and for all the lads and lassies that are coming to join now, we were talking about this before, you're only 2 really dodgy decisions from a US president away from a war.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You have to. I mean, everybody, the people are ticking on at the moment, but we're never that far away from it all going wrong again.
Yeah.
And having boots on the ground and this happening, limbs and lives being lost. So
yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, I'd still join tomorrow, and I'd encourage anybody to join.
Yeah, definitely. So looking forward for you, mate. What's coming up for you? What big things are you doing in the near future?
Well, I fly to Dubai on early Tuesday morning. Big competition over there. It's one of the first proper qualifiers to go to the Tokyo Paralympics. We're probably going to have 4, maybe 5 opportunities to qualify, but Dubai is certainly one of the bigger comps. Yeah, so get that going. I'm feeling strong. I done my last big training session this morning just before you turned up, and touch wood, no injuries, and just go there and smash it. You know, every competition I go in, I want a medal.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I don't want to be out of that top 3, and certainly starting with Dubai, I expect myself to be in the top 3 and lifting some big weights. The dream's to go to Tokyo again. Only the top 8 in the world go. You don't get selected by Team GB to go. It's not like these other sports. If you're a British champion, you go. It's not you've got to be top 8 in the world.
Oh wow.
So you think these China, Russia are coming back, and all these crazy strong countries, you've got to be in with them and bring Russia back. It's been the talk of the town with me and the guys training about the Russians coming back, but I beat the Russians when they were here before, and I'll beat them again, so I don't care, bring them back. Let's compete hard, and we'll all go to Tokyo and see who's the daddy. Yeah,
and just for the record, guys, when Micky's talking about lifting, he's talking about bench press. Obviously static bench press, when you're sort of there on the bench, you have your legs strapped in, don't you? And then you'll take the weight from the stands, and then so sort of get ready to go, and then you're going for your 1 rep max. And what are you averaging at the minute, roughly?
Well, my PB is 195. That's 195 kilos. My body weight will be about 72 kgs when I go to Dubai.
Wow.
I'm looking at 185 plus in Dubai. You end up playing the rankings rather than trying to PB.
Yeah.
Sometimes these PBs weights will come out of British Championships where you can just put the weight on, but I don't want to go push it too hard and miss it.
Yeah.
And then some other country just come and beat me by 1k.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of tactics involved in that, and you're right. It's only the bench press discipline of powerlifting. I used to do powerlifting before, where it's obviously the squat, bench, and then deadlift. But Paralympic bench press, just the bench press, 3 lifts, biggest weight wins, and obviously falling backwards will deal out the medals. But to go to Tokyo, I'm looking at benching 200k.
Wow.
At about probably 70 kgs body weight.
Wow.
Big weights.
And you've got, well, I mean, obviously you've got no pressure pushing into the ground, have you? It's all
you've got no balance.
It's all core and lats and chest, isn't it?
Yeah.
Arms.
You've got no push through your feet. You've not got any balance. You can't have any oscillation in the bar because there's no feet to bring back the bar. So the minute you lift it out, you have to activate that back and those lats, and you take that bar and you bully that bar. Don't let that go anywhere, because if that starts moving and you've got 100 and probably, the minute you go over 170 kgs and that bar has a little bit of movement, it's a big old effort to bring it back before you've even started the lift. Yeah. The ref won't start the lift until you've got the bar static. So make sure there's no messing about at the start. Get it out the racks, solid. Word the command, go, get down, pause on the chest, press it, get it back, and then just look at the lights, and hopefully you've got the majority. 2 white lights out of the 3, and you've got a good lift.
Yeah, I remember watching you on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
On the Commonwealth Games, actually, because obviously where I used to live there before, I had friends in the crowd streaming it back here, and I was watching you. It was pretty remarkable. I think the top 3 guys there were very strong. 200k
plus, yeah. Many sports, when you go to Commonwealth Games, you might find a bit of slack in the sport.
Yeah.
But we've got Nigeria and India and countries like that, and top nations for strength athletes.
Yeah.
It's similar to when the sprinters go to Commonwealth Games. You still got Jamaica.
Yeah.
or the swimmers. You've still got Australia and South Africa.
Yeah.
So they've
Everyone
got,
else turns up
you
to
think
that
you think you can medal, and you look and you've got a Nigerian that's benching 220k.
Yeah.
So there's certainly no easy medals, and there shouldn't be.
No.
There shouldn't be any slack in the system. If you're going to the major internationals, make sure you work hard for those medals.
So, for all the viewers and the listeners at home, where would everyone find you if they want to connect with you? Obviously, I know you're on Twitter and Instagram and that. Yeah. Just obviously, what's your plugins, mate? What's your tags?
Yeah, Twitter, so is Micky Yule 9, and on Instagram it's Big Micky 9, BIGMKY 9. It's cheesy, but come on.
Everyone's got to have a name now, haven't they?
Yeah. You've got to put big in there. You don't put the words big and you're lifting in front of on Instagram, then you're a nothing.
Last question. Six Nations?
Six Nations today. I watched the Wales game last night. I couldn't believe they come back.
Yeah.
George Norfolk was unbelievable. Scotland versus Italy today. Hopefully Scotland smash Italy. We can't have our first game defeat to Italy, or we're going to be in trouble. And then watch the Irish beat England maybe. This is where I get more abuse, right, on social media than anything. And I want, you know what I'm like, Scotsman, we all know what you've got to say in anybody but England. And I'll just put a smiley face. That's all I would have to put on social media, and I would just get abused. I'm like, I didn't say nothing. But
Emoji speak louder than the words.
Absolutely. Hope Scotland smash Italy, and I'm not going to lie, I hope Ireland smash England.
Well, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. My first actual real proper interview of many more to come. What I will do for the guys listening and the viewers is I'll put Micky's contact details, his plugins on the show notes, as well as a bit of a description of what we've actually talked about today. But sort of to conclude, obviously the name of the episode I like to call was To Never Give Up, and you can see and hear just in right in front of you that Micky is the epitome of somebody that has never ever given up. From a traumatic event back in 2010 to where he sits now, a Paralympian athlete, and he's taken his mentality and his mindset day to day, strength to strength, getting up every morning, wanting to better himself, and as a result of that, he has never ever given up in his pursuit to be a better version of himself. And I tell you what, guys, if you can take a small leaf out of Micky's book, every single one of you can become the best version of you.